Hello, it's Sally again, your Patina artist. I'm here today to do a making video to show you how to make an avatar. First, I want to say thank you so much for sending in all your wonderful designs and research on the Edwardian period. It was really exciting to get those emails. I had 24 different designs and they were all brilliant. I loved every single one of them. So thank you very, very much for sending in those pictures. Before we start, this is a special year. You've got more creative freedom than ever before because you're making it in your own house. So what I show you to make is just one idea. A guy called Ralph who sent a costume of the Titanic. It was brilliant. He had the Titanic going across his arms so you could actually snap it on an iceberg, and oh, I thought that would be brilliant in the parade. We could do that big make of the Titanic and all the ladies and gents and the musicians and all that around it. The Edwardian times isn't within living memory, but maybe your grandparents' grandparents were Edwardian. So it's worth asking older people you know if they have any photos and stories from the Edwardian era. It might be quite interesting to find out. Before we start making, make sure that you've covered your surfaces with newspaper and you're wearing something you don't mind getting glue or paint on. And also be careful with scissors. I know you're year 6, you don't need to know that, but I'm 44 and I stabbed through a piece of material into my finger. So do be careful with all your tools. Okay, now for the making part. 11 out of 24 of you drew in designs for an Edwardian lady. Either just a lady or a suffragette. So I've combined them and I've made this lady here. I'm going to show you in stages how to make her. Now, even if you don't want to make an Edwardian lady, watch carefully because the things I'm going to show you will be just as relevant for making a gentleman or anything else you want to make. So, step 1. You're going to need a loo roll, you're going to need a cereal box, you're going to need some tape, masking tape is best, some scissors and a pen. Not too bad. Oh, and some newspaper, very important. I do have newspaper. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take your loo roll. An Edwardian lady wears a corset that pinches in her waist until it's as small as it can possibly be. And I thought, how am I going to do that on a loo roll? And so I've actually had to cut out her ribs. So you have to do it on both sides. That's the side I've already done. It looks like a helmet. And the other side, I'm going to slice up halfway and then making sure I'm level with this crack, I'm going to cut out a bit there as well. And on the other side. This, so the poor woman can have a tiny, 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 tiny waist. And then what I've done is I've cut up a bit further from that crack on both sides and folded in the corners. Obviously, if you're making a gentleman, they don't have to do that, just the ladies. No wonder there were suffragettes. There we are. So I pinched in the sides, and now you can see she's got more of a shape of an Edwardian lady. There we are. Stage 1. Stage 2 is she needs a head. She does. So we're going to take our newspaper and scrunch it up into a ball. Try and keep one side smooth if you can. That would be her face and make it easier to draw the face on. So I'm just scrunching it up with a smoother side there. And if it's as big as you want it to be, you can always chop some paper off, or I'm going to twist mine to make a neck. There she is, and she's beautiful. And when you've done that, stick it all together with masking tape. Now, you can use sellotape for this, but you can't paint over it. So if you think you're going to cover your lady with paint afterwards, don't use sellotape. But you can use paper mache if you've got some PVA glue, or it might just hold together well enough with the squunching if you squunch it hard enough. Here's one I made earlier. You see, it's just masking tape and newspaper. I'm going to put it in her body. There you are, Edwardian lady. The next thing she needs is her skirt. And what you're going to do there is you're going to take your cereal box, and with the cereal part in, you're going to make a cone around her waist. I'll take her head off for this. Now by a cone, I mean it wants to be smaller at the top than at the bottom. And we're going to tape that on as well. It's slightly fiddlier than you might think to make that cone. But when you've done it, you need to chop off the excess. I also chopped the corner off my piece of cardboard at the back just to make it straighter. And I'm going to just chop around here. It doesn't matter if it's not entirely straight, but the straighter it is, the more likely she is to stand up under her own steam, which is nice. So there we are, there's mine. Ha! She stands up. Brilliant. I know she has lost her head. I just put a little bit of tape on the bottom there as well to seal it up. Bend it over inside. So there we have our Edwardian lady's bodice, skirt, and head. She's leaning back a bit there, yeah. Tilt her forwards. She looks a bit rubbish at the moment, I'll admit. But she did look good at the end, didn't she? Don't worry when you're making things. If there's a stage where you think, oh my goodness, this looks rubbish, just carry on. And if there's a terrible bit, just rip it off and do it again. The thing is with these, is you'll all be making slightly different things, and they'll change as you go along. And honestly, it's so much fun to see what comes out at the end, even if it's not what you started off trying to make in the beginning. The next thing my lady needs is some arms, and I'm going to make those out of newspaper as well. All I'm going to do is fold the newspaper to the length I want her arms to be, and everyone's will be different, about that long, and roll it up. And secure it with a bit of tape. Then, if you want to make a bend in her arm, as I did to hold my parasol, just squeeze it together. Squash the end. There's her arm. Oh, it's on the other side. There you are. Easy peasy. Now you've made the body of your Edwardian lady, it's time to do the fun bit, which is the decorating. First we need to get her some skin. So whatever skin tone you want, you can even paint her face, and make sure you paint down to here as well, her décolletage, because the dresses come quite low. So you might want to save a bit of the same colour paint for hands as well, if you're mixing up a colour. The other thing you could do is you could cover the face with paper. I used crepe paper doubled over to stop the newspaper from showing. Or you could use tissue paper, or even this Tudor lady I made for another school. I just put normal A4 paper over her face and drew on it. So that's decorating her face comes next. Because you want to put the clothes on top of the skin colour. So if you are painting it, make sure it's dry before you start dressing your character. As for the dressing, you can use fabric if you want to. You can use tissue paper or crepe paper, or you can paint it. Or if you had coloured cardboard, you could make the skirt out of that to start with, and that would save you a bit of time. Just wanted to show you this lady again. So I've made this dress out of crepe paper. Make sure you really squinch it in at the waist. You don't want to lose the shape you've made with the loo roll. I've covered her arms. Her arms are well covered, and I've decorated the bottom with a bit of lace. Now you could draw on it if you wanted to. Just be careful to test a bit of your pen on the fabric that's not on this version, because some pens bleed on some materials. And the other thing mine's got is a train. She's got a lovely train at the back of her outfit there. A lot of dresses did have trains. You don't need one. The fashions were quite rapidly changing at the time. I've made my lady's hair from a bit of fabric, but you could use wool, or you could use fur fabric. They had quite neat hair, so you could even draw it on with little curls and that sort of thing. I've just drawn her face on, but you could stick googly eyes on or do all sorts of fun things with the face. This parasol, a lot of you drew parasols in your pictures. I thought it was a lovely idea. Now I've just made an origami umbrella, and what I did is I looked that up on YouTube. I'm not going to show you how to do that here because it's already on YouTube. You don't need my tutorial for that. But if you want a parasol, there's lots of tutorials. I didn't do the whole thing. I just did the first part and I thought, that looks fine. But you can make them open and close if you want a fancy one. If you're making a gentleman rather than a lady, you can make legs in the same way that I made her arms by just scrunching up newspaper. I'd make them sort of thick and stocky if you can. There's more chance of your creature, your person, standing up on its own afterwards. Alternatively, you can make arms and legs with pipe cleaners or just with cut out straight bits of cardboard which you've drawn on. The next thing I'd like to show you, if you're making a lady or a gentleman, is how to make their hat. What I do is I've got my character's head. I've put it down on a piece of cardboard. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm drawing around it. There you can see that's the rough outline of my character's head. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a bigger circle around that. Now if it's a top hat, you don't want the brim too big, but the ladies' hats, they can be as wacky as you like. And when you've drawn around it, I haven't used a compass or anything, I've just done a rough circle. You cut it out and then cut out the middle circle too. That's where you've got to be careful with your scissors not to stab through into your hands. And you should come out with something like this. Now, with this one, I folded the cardboard over before I cut it out because I didn't want the cereal box showing. I thought that would be harder to paint over afterwards. And with my original lady, I used my coloured cardboard to make her hat, which saved me decorating it at all. So this is the brim of your hat. The next thing you need is this part. And you need a strip of cardboard which is wider than you want your hat to be high. If you're making a top hat, that might be quite high. I'm just making the lady's hat at the moment. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut little fringes up the cardboard like this, up both sides, all the way up. And you see I've done that here. And now you're going to bend those. So the bottom of your hat, you bend out these little fringes, and so when you curve it round the hat, those bits poke outwards and you can stick them down with a bit of masking tape. I've stuck that down with tape onto the brim. Then turn your hat upside down and draw around the top of the hat, cut it out. We're going to bend the fringes from the top of the hat in. So poke the bottom ones out, we're going to poke the top ones in. And that allows you to have a little surface to stick this top onto. After that, it's all about the decoration. To make my sash, I just got a ribbon, and then this is a piece of a sticky label I stuck in the middle. You can make it out of paper. On her hat here, I just decorated it with some rosettes from packing, which I had lying around. So get creative. And now, I'd like to introduce you to Ernest Shackleton. There he is. He's got a loo roll body. He's got the same newspaper scrunched up head. He's been dressed in bubble wrap first to give him his Polar Explorer thick coat. He's got snow on the bottom of his boots. I don't know if you can see that. He's standing on an ice floe made of polystyrene here, and there's his sledge. He's even got a shovel to help him dig his way out of the snow, and a penguin. My housemate made him. We just got very excited about your theme in my house. And here's the other friend I made. Poop poop! So, what are we going to do with your avatars now you've made them? You are going to email us a photo or a video of your avatar, about 10 seconds long. It doesn't have to be anything special. You've got to be landscape, not portrait. So this way round, so we can knit them all together into a virtual parade. You can be in the picture or video too. Give us a wave and a smile. Make sure you put your name on the email so we know whose creation it is. You sending it to us gives us permission to use it in the Patina video. So if you don't want your face in it, just make sure it's your avatar and not your face. You need to send it to this email address. Same email address as you sent your designs to. patina2020logs@gmail.com. And you need to send it by June the 6th. Please make sure you get it to us by the 6th of June so we can make sure all your ideas get into the parade. After lockdown, we're going to use these avatars again. We're going to have an exhibition of them and a great big party for all the Year 6s. So keep your avatar somewhere really safe. We're going to see it again and we're going to see all of you. Thank you.